Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mandy, your cruise director, and right now we're on the I-95 on board the beautiful Norwegian Star. We've woken up nice and early to show you how the ship passes through the Panama Canal. So of course right now we are waiting for the pilot, so get ready as we're going to show you how this journey is going to commence.
Good morning.
So right now, as you can see, all the crew is coming on board. The pilot is on board as well. We do need assistance. Of course, there's only about half a meter each side of when we're going through the canal. So security here, crew, everybody is ready. So join us and follow along for this once in a lifetime experience.
Welcome to Panama!
Hello everyone, and right now we are on deck 8 at the front of the ship. As you can see, there's a lot of people around. The weather is also very beautiful as well. So of course we are commencing our journey, so make sure to stay tuned as we get to our first lock. The canal cuts across the Isthmus of Panama and is a key conduct for international maritime trade. The canal was completed in 1914 and is now managed and operated by the Panama Canal Authority, a Panamanian government agency. The canal consists of artificial lakes, several improved and artificial channels, and 3 sets of locks that at each end flow into Gatun Lake. The lock chambers are 110 feet wide by 1,050 feet long with a usable length of 1,000 feet. These dimensions determine the maximum size of the ships that can use the canal. The walls range in thickness from 49 feet at the base to 9.8 feet at the top. Annual traffic has risen from about 1,000 ships in 1914 when the canal opened to the current 13,413 vessels in 2017. The Panama Canal expansion was the largest infrastructure project since the canal's opening in 1914. Since its inauguration on June 26, 2016, the expanded canal increases the waterway's capacity to meet the growing demand of maritime trade using larger vessels, which means that the Panama route provides important economies of scale. The expansion included the construction of new sets of locks on the Atlantic and Pacific side of the waterway, creating a third lane of traffic and doubling the cargo capacity of the waterway. While the expanded locks are 70 feet wider and 18 feet deeper than those of the original canal, they use less water due to water-saving basins that recycle 60% of the water used per transit. The Gatun locks and are set along the Caribbean side of Panama to the west of Colón. They are about a mile, 1.5 kilometers long, and raise ships some 85 feet, which is about 26 meters. These massive locks are the largest in the Panama Canal, and as you watch ships pass through the lock chambers, it's easy to understand why the Panama Canal is one of the 7 man-made wonders of the world. Did you know that the Gatun Lake is man-made? Artificially created in 1913 by the damming of the Chagres rivers, Gatun Lake is an essential part of the Panama Canal, which forms a water passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, permitting ship transit in both directions. Since the Panama Canal opening in 1914, vessels have paid tolls to transit the waterway. Tolls for the canal are set by the Panama Canal Authority and are based on vessel type, size, and the type of cargo carried. For container ships or cargo ships, the toll is assessed on the ship's capacity expressed in TEU's 20-foot equivalent units. 1 TEU being the size of a standard intermodal shipping container. Effective April 1st, 2016, this toll is about $75 per TEU for container ship. But for us as cruise ships, we pay a rate based on the number of berths, that is, the number of passengers that can be accommodated in permanent beds. The per berth since April 1st, 2016 is $111 for unoccupied berths and $138 for occupied berths. The lowest toll was 36 cents by American Richard Halliburton, who swam the Panama Canal in 1928. Puente Centenario right behind me is a major bridge crossing over the Panama Canal. It cost $120 million. It was built in 2004 and over has 6 lanes of traffic. It is the second permanent bridge over the Panama Canal. Now the las mulas or the mules are actually the machines that help guide us through the canal. We have 8 of them in total, 4 at the bow and 4 at the stern, 2 on either side. But it's actually the ship's engine that keeps us moving forward. Like I said, they are just here to help guide us to make sure that we're going through the center of the canal. Now the first generation of the las mulas were made by General Electric, and the new version of the las mulas is made by Mitsubishi, and it costs around $2 million each. The Pedro Miguel lock is a second stop, which is 1.7 kilometers long. It is a single lock that takes the ship from the level of Gatun Lake to the level of Miraflores Lake. In the Miraflores locks, vessels are lifted or lowered 54 feet in 2 stages, allowing them to transit to or from the Pacific Ocean port of Balboa in Panama City. Imagine, this lock system is amazing. It is able to lift our ship up and down. The Star weighs 91,740 gross tonnage. Each lock requires 26.7 thousand gallons of water to fill it from a lowered to a raised position and vice versa. The size of the locks determine the maximum size of a ship that can pass through them. Many ships are now built to the maximum size allowed. Panama Canal is truly an unbelievable accomplishment, and so very important to maritime trade and industry. Ships traveling between New York and San Francisco save 7,872 miles by using the Panama Canal instead of going around Cape Horn. So the ship just passed by the El Puente de las Americas, or the Bridge of the Americas in English, which connects Panama City with the rest of the northern section of the country. It was built between 1959 and 1962 by the United States at a cost of $20 million. From its completion in 1962 until the opening of the parallel Puente Centenario in 2004, the Bridge of the Americas was a key part of the Pan American Highway.
The Panama Canal is 48 miles long and connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans via the Caribbean Sea. The idea for a canal across Panama dates back to the 16th century. In 1513, Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa became the first European to discover that the Isthmus of Panama was just a slim land bridge separating the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. In 1534, after no such passage across the isthmus had been found, Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, ordered a survey to determine if one could be built, but the surveyors eventually decided that construction of a ship canal was impossible. In 1881, a French company headed by Ferdinand de Lesseps, a former diplomat, began digging a canal across Panama. The project was plagued by poor planning, engineering problems, and tropical diseases that killed thousands of workers. Gustave Eiffel, who designed the famous tower in Paris that bears his name, was then hired to create locks for the canal. However, the de Lesseps-led company went bankrupt in 1889. Every vessel that transits the canal must pay a toll based on its size and cargo volume. Tolls for the largest ships can run around $450,000. On average, it takes a ship 8 to 10 hours to pass through the canal. While moving through it, a system of locks raises each ship 85 feet above sea level. Following the failure of a French construction team in the 1880s, the United States commenced building a canal across a 50-mile stretch of the Panama Isthmus in 1904. The project was helped by the elimination of disease-carrying mosquitoes, while Chief Engineer John Stevens devised innovative techniques and spurred the crucial redesign from a sea level to a lock canal. His successor, Lieutenant Colonel George Washington Goethals, stepped up excavation efforts of a stubborn mountain range and oversaw the building of the dams and locks. The Panama Canal officially opened on August 15, 1914. The Panama Railway steamship SS Encon, piloted by Captain John A. Constantine, the canal's first pilot, made the first official transit. The Panama Canal was transferred from the United States to Panama in 1999. Panama City is the capital and largest city of the Republic of Panama. It has an urban population of over 430,000, and its population totals 880,000 when rural areas are included. The city is located at the Pacific entrance of the Panama Canal in the province of Panama. Panama City is the political and administrative center of the country, as well as a hub for international banking and commerce. It has a dense skyline of mostly high-rise buildings, and it is surrounded by a large belt of tropical rainforest. The city of Panama was founded on August 15, 1519, by Spanish conquistador Pedro Arias de Villa. The city was the starting point for expeditions that conquered the Inca Empire in Peru. It was a stopover point of one of the most important trade routes in the history of the American continent, through which passed most of the gold and silver that Spain took from the Americas.
right now we have just passed through the Panama Canal, making our way to the Pacific Ocean. We'd like to say a huge thank you on behalf of the officers, staff and crew for choosing to cruise with us on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.